Hey there, happy holidays. I'm here to talk with you about your art this year, and as we head towards the new year, I want to ask you, did you make the art that you wanted to make in 2024? So if you want 2025 to be the year that everything happens for your art, then join me for the next few weeks. I'm going to be sending out an email series to help you launch your entire art life in 2025. And I'm going to give you some details in this video. Okay, so if you're here, tell me if you can hear me, and I would love to hear from you. Okay, so today I'm going to cover the first of the three biggest blocks that women struggle with when looking at starting their art. So last year I sent out a survey asking women, what are your three biggest struggles when it comes to making your art and really committing to your art life? And thanks to everyone who answered this survey. And the three biggest struggles that emerged are fear and self doubt, finding your authentic voice, and maintaining a consistent art practice. So let's start with fear today, and then I'll talk about the others in the upcoming weeks. So, fear is a normal and natural part of being human. It's in all of us, it's here to protect us. In a way, fear is a wonderful thing because it keeps us safe, right? It tells us when we're going into an unsafe situation, or maybe when a person is sketchy and we shouldn't engage with them. We're getting near the edge of a cliff. But the thing is that fear doesn't understand creativity, because creativity is in the newer part of our brain. It's not in the survival part. So time and time again, I hear so many people saying, oh, they really want to make their art. Oh, they've been thinking about their art, but the majority of them are not making their art. And they all have a lot of really good reasons why they're not making their art. Sometimes it's very well thought out and logical. But the thing is, all of those reasons go back to fear. And I think that people don't really want to address the fear, so it's a lot easier to say, I've got to keep my household going, I've got to keep my bills in check, I've got to keep my focus on my job, or whatever it is. Okay, so Elizabeth Gilbert wrote an entire book on the subject called Big Magic, and if you haven't read it, I highly recommend it. So she says when she sits down to create, the most important thing is to feel the fear rising in you, because then you can address it and thank your fear for being there. You could say something to your fear like, thank you for protecting me. However, your help is not needed. I'm making a painting. And when you think about it, it's kind of funny. Of course, we don't need fear when we're making a painting, yet it's so big that it stops many of us from painting. So just by acknowledging your fear and by thanking it for being there and protecting you and letting it know it's not needed, that alone is going to clear your space to start painting. Just simply acknowledging it. And I think she says in her book, hey fear, you can sit in the back seat of the car, but you can't drive the car. She says you can't choose the snacks, you can't change the radio or make any decisions. You can sit in the back seat. So it's so important to make peace with our fear and realize it's an integral part of being human. But more importantly is to notice when it's stealing the show and when it's not needed. One thing we know for sure when we're painting, fear is not needed. We're not going to do brain surgery or ruin our life. The biggest problem with fear when it enters the creative part of you is that it may prevent you from doing your art. So I can't tell you the number of women who have told me they don't feel good enough, or they don't feel like they have anything new to share, or they're very scared that they don't have anything special. So if you feel that way, let me know. I'd love to hear your comments. Sometime a long time ago, somebody told you that your art didn't have what it takes. Or maybe a teacher gave you a subliminal message that your art wasn't good enough. Or maybe a parent told you that you couldn't make it as an artist. So all of these messages got into you, And if you think about it, it was 30 or 40 years ago, and yet there's still part of your identity. This fear of being an artist, fear of expressing your creativity that's been whispering in your ear your entire life. And yet those are very old stories, and they're still driving the show. So when you can realize that your fear is driving your show, your creative show, and yet it's not helping at all, that's when you can kind of say, oh gosh, that is not needed, and get started creating. Hi, Lori, great to see you. So here you are, 30 or 40 years later, still not making your art. That's not a message to shame you. It's a message to awaken you. Let 2025 be a year of possibilities for you, okay? I'm going to say that again. Let 2025 be a year of possibilities for your creativity. The best way to look at your new year is you can live in your fear or you can live in your dream, and you get to decide which you want more. I call it scarcity. Do you want to live in scarcity, or do you want to live in your dream? Do you want to get to the end of your life and have played small, or do you want to get to the end of your life and feel like you gave it your all? So if you are feeling a resounding, yes, I want my art, I want to finally do it, then I promise you, you can do this. If you have that calling in you, then it is, I'm getting a message here that my video is slow, so hopefully you guys can hear me okay. If you feel that creative calling whispering to you, that means you have what it takes. You wouldn't be hearing that and feeling that if you weren't a creative person, okay? And in the new year, I'm going to be giving you 3 free trainings in January to help you start your entire art life in 2025. So make sure you check in. You can follow me here on Facebook, or you can get on my email list and check in the next few weeks. I'm also going to be addressing the other 2 struggles that hold women back in their art. So this is all going to launch everything you're going to need for your creativity. And for those of you who want to take it even further, I will be taking a small group of art mentoring students, but I'll tell you more about that later. Your dream about going from a hobbyist to finally feeling like a real artist, and even painting your authentic voice, and even showing and selling, that's not about ego. That's who you are, and it's been undervalued your whole life, and you are the one that gets to decide. Those messages are old, and they're not going to drive the show in 2025. So this is about making your art is about fully living as a human being. Because as humans, when we are growing and embracing new opportunities and challenging ourselves to learn and be creative and say yes to our artistic self, then we are fully living. And that is a life worth lived. And you know when you're not doing it, because you can feel that longing, like something's missing. So next week I'm going to address the second fear that women struggle with when going for their art, which is finding their authentic voice. So stay tuned for more, and leave me a comment below and let me know if this helped you or inspired you, and let me know what fears hold you back in your art. I would love to hear from you. Okay, bye.